Have you ever wondered what makes the US one of the top 5 food producing countries in the world? The answer is agricultural mechanization. Nowadays, farmers no longer have to struggle for weeks to harvest, but only require a few days or even a few hours to bring in tons of agricultural products back to the warehouse. How did this miracle happen? Let's find out in today's video. The US currently has over 27,000 apple producers, and they are entering a completely new era of automated harvesting. If previously, to pick 1 ton of apples, farmers had to spend around $150 on labour, now harvesting robots using drones can do the job for around $40 per ton, and sometimes even less. These robots scan images to accurately identify ripe apples. Then they use mechanized arms to lift and gently pick each fruit. The apples are then neatly placed into the machine. In addition, many orchard owners also use tree shakers during the harvest. There are 2 common types of machines. With the first type, workers operate a machine's mechanical arm to clamp onto the tree trunk and gently shake it. Just 2 seconds of shaking is enough for most of the apples to fall to the ground. Immediately after, a collection machine runs along the rows, sweeping up all the apples on the ground, transferring them onto a conveyor belt and then into a storage bin. With the second type, a large white catching tarp is slipped close to the base of the tree. When the machine creates vibrations, the ripe apples fall down and rest neatly on the tarp. Thanks to this, people can harvest hundreds of apples per hour to meet the huge demand of consumers. Another widely used agricultural product is the onion. On average, each American eats nearly 19 pounds of onions annually. This is why the US has become one of the world's largest onion producers and exporters, with an average output of around 3 million tons per year. Along with the expanding scale of production, onion harvesting technology has also developed strongly. Modern onion harvesting machines are now designed with a specialized digging system that lifts up the bulbs out of the ground along with the roots. After being lifted, the onions pass through a continuous vibrating screen system to separate most of the clinging soil and dry roots. Next, they are gently poured onto the field in neat rows to dry. Afterwards, the collection machine enters the field. The onions are transferred directly onto the conveyor belt at the back of the machine, then dumped into a truck running parallel for transport to the preliminary processing area or warehouse. This entire process takes place continuously and smoothly, significantly reducing productivity. To achieve bountiful harvests, the first and most crucial step is soil preparation. On large-scale farms, farmers often use deep plows. During operation, the plow blades continuously perform 3 actions: cutting, lifting, and completely turning over the strip of soil, creating loose and airy soil layers. When the machine finishes a furrow and turns in the opposite direction, the automatic hydraulic system is activated, to flip the entire set of plough blades. This mechanism ensures the soil is always turned to the same side in both directions, completely eliminating dead furrows. Crop residues and weeds are buried deep into the soil, preparing the optimal foundation for the next growing season. From the deeply ploughed and carefully tended fields, rows of carrots grow vigorously and are now ready for harvest. Farmers drive machines along the carrot rows. The machine head is specially designed to grip the plant stem securely, pulling both the root and the stem out of the ground in a single operation. After being pulled up, the automatic cutting system handles the excess levers on the root. Next, the carrots pass through a screening system to remove the clinging soil and dirt. The clean roots are then moved onto a conveyor belt, sliding straight out the back and into the large storage bins for transport preparation. According to statistics, carrot production in the US reached over 458,000 CWT, of which around 318,000 are used for the fresh consumption market, and around 6,980 tonnes are sent to processing plants. For some other types of plants, pruning must be done before harvesting. This machine consists of a long bar carrying multiple high-speed rotating circular saw blades. As the tractor moves along the rows of trees, the hydraulic arm holds the saw blade bar in a vertical position, and the cutting disc rotates steadily, neatly trimming the branches sticking out on both ends. This side pruning process helps the rows maintain a consistent width, creating a clear pathway and allowing sunlight to penetrate easily, supporting the photosynthesis process. When the tree tops need to be pruned, the operator needs to only raise the hydraulic arm and adjust the cutting bar horizontally or diagonally. The rapid rotating saw blades simultaneously cut the tops, which help to control the height of the trees and stimulate the growth of new shoots. Next, let's head to the pistachio orchards in California, which account for up to 99% of the total national production. The state dedicates 312,000 acres of land for growing this crop. Today, pistachios are mainly harvested using tree shakers. Their mechanical arms shake strongly for a few seconds to dislodge all of the ripe nuts. The entire process is quick and efficient. Just one shake is enough for the tree to shed almost all of its fruit. Below, large tarps are already open to catching the falling nuts. After falling, the pistachios slide into a conveyor belt system and a storage bin, and are then transferred to extremely large containers for storage. Here is another type of tree shaker. This machine has a funnel-shaped tarp that wraps around the tree trunk, before gently shaking it to make the fruit fall. Thanks to the application of mechanization, harvesting, which used to take weeks, is now completed in just a few days. If a farmer wants to clear an orchard to switch to a different crop, they can use a cutting and root pulling machine. First, the equipment is lowered to scoop away the layer of soil around the base of the tree. Next, the machine switches to pulling out and processing the tree stump. With hydraulic pulling force, the stump is yanked out of the ground, taking a portion of the deep roots with it. Thanks to its superior strength, the machine can handle large, tough stumps in just a short time, minimizing effort compared to manual methods. Our next location is the sugar beet fields. According to the National Agricultural Statistics Service forecast, sugar beet production for the 2025-2026 crop year is expected to reach over 35 million tonnes. To harvest this enormous volume, farms must operate almost non-stop, even in the rainy season. That's why sugar beet harvesters were invented. They are equipped with large wheels with high traction, allowing the machine to move stably on damp soil without getting stuck. At the front, a rotating blade system cuts off the leafy tops of the plants, while immediately behind, a specialised lifting mechanism gently pulls the sugar beet root out of the ground, without breaking or crushing it. Next, the sugar beets are taken up a conveyor belt, sliding straight into the huge storage bin mounted on a container truck. From there, they will be transported directly to factories to be processed into various food products such as juice, sugar, and more. Sugarcane is also a popular crop. Despite facing numerous weather challenges, including Hurricane Francine, the Louisiana sugarcane industry still recorded a record 2024 harvest. The cultivated area reached 216,000 hectares, and the total processed sugarcane production amounted to over 17 million tonnes, yielding around 2 million tonnes of sugar. Previously, to harvest sugarcane, farmers had to use machetes to cut each stalk one by one, a difficult and time-consuming job. But now, that process has been completely replaced by modern sugarcane harvesters. As it moves along the sugarcane rows, the rotating cutting blade system at the front of the machine cuts each stalk close to the ground. The augers immediately pull the sugarcane inside, simultaneously stripping the leaves and feeding the stalks onto the processing conveyor. Once the sugarcane is cleaned, the stalks are moved onto a discharge pipe and blown straight into a trailer running parallel alongside. Finally, we arrive at the pumpkin fields in Illinois, the state that produces the most pumpkins in the US, with a yield of nearly 485 million pounds. A significant portion of these pumpkins are crushed to extract the seeds. First, a machine lines up the pumpkins into rows. Then the pumpkin crushing machine is driven onto the field using large spike wheels to lift each fruit off the ground. Once the pumpkins are fed into the machine's body, a 4-section crushing drum begins to operate. The crushing paddles break the pumpkin shells, separating the flesh and thoroughly collecting all of the pumpkin seeds. pumpkin seeds have a high economic value and are considered a healthy snack. Thanks to technology, farmers not only save time and effort, but also increase the productivity and quality of agricultural products many times over. But with machines taking over most of the farm work, what does the future hold for traditional rural labourers? What are your thoughts on this issue? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. Did you know that just one farm in the US can feed on average 169 people a year? Not only domestically, but also abroad. In today's video, we'll follow farmers to see how they harvest millions of tons of crops annually. Over the past decade, global tangerine harvests have averaged 34.36 million tons a year. Achieving this figure requires significant effort from farmers. Since tangerines cling tightly to branches, the entire harvesting process is typically done by hand. Picking tangerines requires precision and patience. Farmers must gently pick each fruit one by one. If handled roughly, the thin peel can easily tear, causing the fruit to spoil quickly and lose value. During peak harvest days, farmers work continuously under the sun for hours to meet deadlines. Full baskets of tangerines are quickly emptied into large containers and transported for sale. Cider apples are also widely consumed. In the US, the number of cider production facilities and cider sales increased tenfold from 2008 to 2019. To meet market demand, harvesting has been almost entirely mechanized. The first step in modern harvesting involves a tree shaking machine. Its mechanical arm clamps onto the tree trunk and shakes vigorously, causing cider apples to fall to the ground. Immediately after, a collection machine moves along the rows, sweeping up the fallen apples. The apples pass through a conveyor system to remove debris like leaves, twigs, or dirt. Once cleaned, the apples are loaded into large containers and transported directly to processing plants. The next product is pumpkins. In 2024, pumpkin production in the US alone reached 1.44 billion pounds. On large-scale farms, machines are often used for harvesting. These machines gently lift pumpkins from the ground and neatly place them into large containers, allowing hundreds of tons to be collected in a short time. However, in some places, farmers still prefer traditional hand harvesting. They use shears to cut the stems and carefully lift each pumpkin up. Ripe, golden pumpkins are then loaded onto trucks for sale to traders. Our next stop is the plum orchards in North and South America, where the area dedicated to plum cultivation reached just under 200,000 acres. During harvest season, the orchard buzzes with activity. Harvesting begins in the morning and can continue into late at night. Farmers carefully pick ripe plums and gently place them into baskets. The task may seem simple, but is quite laborious, as farmers can work for hours with the natural white dust and plum skins coating their hands and arms. When baskets are full, heavy loads of plums are emptied into large containers in the orchard. Unlike plums, grapes used for winemaking are typically harvested by machine to meet market demand. Globally, 214 million hectolitres of wine are consumed annually. Tree shaking machines are commonly used to harvest grapes. These machines move along rows, creating just enough vibrations to make the grapes fall into collection trays below, which are then transferred to containers. These machines can operate day and night, significantly speeding up the harvesting process. Once the trays are full, the operator empties the grapes into container trucks, ready for transport to wineries. Another less healthy but widely consumed product is tobacco. Each year, the US produces approximately 325.22 million pounds of tobacco. To achieve such large yields, farmers harvest tobacco multiple times a year, typically 3 to 5 times. When the harvest season begins, specialised machines move along the rows, cutting tobacco stalks close to the ground. The stalks are then drawn into the machine, where a blade system makes a clean cut. Afterwards, the tobacco plants are inverted and hung neatly on drying racks. Each rack can hold up to 450 tobacco plants. At high speed, these machines can harvest around 4.9 acres per day, saving farmers significant time and labour. Next, we'll visit Alabama to see the mechanised peanut harvesting process. As the machine moves along the rows, it digs deep into the soil, uprooting entire peanut plants, including roots and pods. The plants are vigorously shaken to remove clinging soil. After this step, the peanut plants are inverted and laid back onto the ground in neat rows to dry. Once sufficiently dry, farmers feed them into a threshing machine, producing firm, high-quality peanuts. Finally, they are loaded up into large containers. Without these modern machines, Alabama farmers would take much longer to harvest the 185,000 acres of peanut fields in the state. Another widely consumed crop is celery. In 2023, the average per capita consumption of fresh celery in the US reached 4.6 pounds. In the fields, farmers use sharp knives to cut celery stalks close to the base. Immediately after, they place the stalks on field washing stations, rinsing them with clean water to remove dirt. The fresh celery is then packed directly in the field to maintain its crispness and freshness. Meanwhile, many farms use machines for harvesting. These machines are equipped with rows of sharp teeth at the front to gently pull celery stalks from the ground. The celery is immediately sent to a conveyor for preliminary cleaning. Finally, clean, high-quality celery is transported, ready for its journey from field to table. The next product is cherries. The US is the second largest cherry producer globally, with an annual output of 321,420 tonnes. In traditional harvesting, cherries are hand-picked carefully to keep the stems intact and avoid bruising. The fresh cherries are placed into baskets worn on the chest before being transferred to large containers. On larger farms, tree shaking machines are used. A mechanical arm clamps onto the tree trunk and shakes gently, causing ripe cherries to fall into troughs below. An automated conveyor system then quickly moves the cherries into containers. Unlike cherries, peaches are typically harvested by hand to avoid bruising. In the orchards, farmers swiftly pick ripe peaches and gently place them into baskets. For higher branches, they use ladders to keep up with the schedule. After a few hours in the orchard, the farmer's hands are covered in fine dust from the fuzzy peach skin. The harvested peaches are collected and transferred into containers. Bananas are another fruit typically harvested by hand. Despite this, their production is immense, estimated at 259 billion pounds this year. Bananas are usually cut while still green as they ripen during transport. Workers use sharp machetes to cut down the entire banana stalks. Another worker then carries the heavy bunches to a cableway transport system. At the collection point, the cableway transports bananas to a nearby packing facility. There, workers separate the bunches into smaller clusters, wash them thoroughly, and pack them carefully. The next product used is hazelnuts. Hazelnut trees typically start producing fruit 3 to 5 years after planting. Since the nuts naturally fall to the ground when ripe, machines are used to collect them. As the machine rolls over the ground, rollers sweep the hazelnuts into the system. This method allows large quantities to be gathered quickly. Once inside the machine, hazelnuts undergo cleaning to remove debris like empty shells, leaves, dirt, or small twigs. The cleaned hazelnuts are then transferred to large containers. Our next stop is a lychee orchard. Global lychee production is estimated at 2.7 million tonnes annually. Farmers typically harvest lychees on dry, sunny days in order to maintain their freshness and flavour. They may handpick clusters or use knives to gently cut off the stems close to the branch. After harvesting, lychees are gathered into small bundles weighing around 1 to 3 kilograms. These bundles are stored in cool, shaded areas to preserve freshness before being transported to markets or distribution points. Next, we'll explore the mechanized sugarcane harvesting process. A large machine moves along the rows, with a cutting blade at the front that slices the cane close to the ground. Powerful rollers then pull the cane inside, stripping leaves and feeding clean stalks onto a conveyor system. The processed cane is quickly transferred to a chute and blown directly into a truck running alongside. Globally, annual sugarcane production reaches around 1.9 billion tonnes. The final product in today's video is cantaloupe. In vast fields, workers bend over rows to check the firmness of each fruit. When ripe, a gentle twist easily detaches the cantaloupe from the vine. Many farms use mobile harvesting platforms. Workers place cantaloupes on conveyors and inspect their quality. Each fruit, meeting standards, is carefully selected before packaging. Behind every delicious meal on our tables is the sweat and effort of farmers. Is there a crop harvesting process that you'd like us to explore next? Let me know in the comments section below. Goodbye and see you in the next video.